For the A's, here's Danny Baez out of the bullpen. And will face an AL MVP candidate, Brett Boone, the leading RBI man in the league, but who's had a very tough go of it in the postseason. 2 for 20.
Like I mentioned yesterday, Booney is a team player. He wants to perform like he's capable of performing. They've been pitching him tough, and he's had a hole in his bat most of this series. But if his team's winning, you're not going to see him change. He'll have a smile on his face. He's not going to go pout.
Now, he has talked about the negativity surrounding this series so far. Pretty much saying he's shrugging it off, saying that's the kind of stuff for talk radio. If the Mariners do not win Game 5, there'll be a lot to say on talk radio here. 97 and 98 miles an hour from Baez as he comes out of the pen.
He's got it. Good hard fastball. 4-seamer stays straight, 2-seamer sinks. Curve, slider, and occasional change. But Baez, as Charlie told us, Charlie Manuel before the game, says he might be his closer in the future.
Boone strikes out again for the 11th time in the series.
Here it is, Baez just rearing back, same as every other pitcher facing Boone in this series. They're getting him out with fastballs, challenging him. And look at how Diaz and Baez are talking to one another.
They had to get right up next to each other just to hear.
Yeah, and look at him. And no, it's not because they have bad breath. It's the fact that they're hiding their lips for the hitters, so the hitters can't lip read.
We saw Curt Schilling do that for 9 innings yesterday.
There's Gerald Perry. Boone's asking Gerald, the hitting coach, what's up? And he just told Edgar, pick him up right now. Pick up Booney. That's what good teammates will do. Gerald Perry, he knows he was a veteran player, long-time player. Now he's their hitting coach, and he understands that sometimes you get the job done, sometimes you don't. Let it go. Team's winning. As long as the team's winning, everything's okay.
Left center. Lofton on the move. Won't get it. An extension of the rallying cry that has been echoing through Seattle all year. 2 outs. So what?
Just what Gerald Perry told Edgar to do was pick up Brett Boone after striking out. That's how your teammates pick one another up. Edgar, solid hitter. Short, quick swing. High fastball. And look at him. They'll take it. Another insurance run. Hard to hit that high fastball at that velocity.
3-1 Seattle lead. And yet again, the 2-out magic. The last 9 runs the Mariners have scored. Going back to the must-win yesterday, they have all been with 2 out. Want to know the count to Olerud. And Olerud smacks it in a right base hit.
Little 2-out rally mountain. Ball on the inner half of the plate. Olerud trusted his hands, kept him inside his body, pulled him through with a knock. Edgar, let's watch him. Looks a little gimpy there, I should say. Looks like it's a hamstring, but you know he's always been hurting with the hamstring all year.
He's had a sore left groin of late too. 2 pinch runners came out. Who do they want? Al Martin's going to second. They pulled a psych on Charles Gibson. He started running out there too, but it's Martin who's going in. And listen to the ovation for Edgar. And how appropriate for this team that the heroes so far would be the M's. Martinez, McLemore, Moyer. But this game's not over. Cleveland with that ability to bunch runs together. Seattle's lead is only 3-1.
Cleveland's a veteran team. Plenty of postseason experience.
Baez missing the camera.
And because Martinez and Oru touched up Baez with a fastball, Baez is going more to his slider now.
Fastball this time, and Cameron pops it back out of play. 2 outs, and again the Mariners able to do something anyway. 6 2-out runs in Game 4, and if they don't win Game 4, there is no Game 5. Here we are in the winner-take-all in Seattle. 3 more 2-out runs in the 15-year wait for Chuck Finley. Down to 2 more innings.
There's a little slider by Baez. Got it over the plate. Right there, pretty good pitch to hit. Cameron couldn't swing.
Now Cameron, left center, locked in, tracking it. But for the second game in a row, a 7th inning that meant something for Seattle. It's now 3-1. Cleveland and Seattle right now, the home team in front, 3-1. And Edgar Martinez, the veteran, with those hamstrings aching. He came through with a 2-out 7th inning base hit to extend the lead from 2-1 to 3-1. Roberto Alomar and the Indians have had their chances today. Somewhat shockingly, Alomar hitting into a pair of double plays off his one-time teammate Jamie Moyer. He used to turn them behind Jamie Moyer in Baltimore. But having not hit into a single double play all year against a lefty, he hit into 2 in the first 3 innings today. And the Indians have let some good scoring chances get away. They will try to create something now against the awfully tough and playoff-tested Jeff Nelson. Sasaki and Rhodes. Now keep in mind, at least for now, you've got 3 righties in a row coming up. So they'll give Jeff Nelson every chance to pitch a second full inning. If Charlie Manuel decides to pinch hit a lefty, then you figure Rhodes.
Next lefty they'll see will be Lofton. Back at the top of the order. Tomey will follow later.
Jeff Nelson making his 7th consecutive postseason appearance. This guy has already been on 4 World Series champions with the Yankees.
So far this game, following suit of what Lou Piniella has said. He wants Moyer to go 6 innings, and he's going to hand it over the bullpen. Nelson for a couple. Rhodes and Sasaki. There they are waiting their turn. Whenever Seattle has the lead after 6th innings, or the 6th inning, they are tough because of those stars in the bullpen.
Strike to Fryman, hugs the outside corner.
Going game 5, 3 losses, and you're out. 3 wins, you're in. Cleveland can't be counted out. They've still got some game to play.
Strike 3, outside corner. And now they've got 5 outs to play with.
And it's that two-seamer. Look at that. Right-handed batter gives up on it because it looks like it's away. Comes back over, catches the outside corner. Hurstback. His call is hee-haw. You're out.
Nine of the last 13 Cleveland hitters have struck out. 7 of them looking at a called third strike. And it's not exactly that power-laden Indian offense that you've seen the last several innings.
Good pitching will nullify good hitting.
Apparently, look at that. Outside edge 0-2.
Right on the black. Nelson having it going his way with the nice little slider. He's able to throw it for strikes and keep it out of the zone to tease the hitters.
Since Kenny Lofton's RBI single in the 3rd, Cleveland has hit 1 ball out of the infield. And this is the guy that did it. Diaz, a little floating fly ball to left, 5th inning. The Mariner pitching. Lights out. Striking out 10 of the last 14.
Nelson trying to control his emotions, but he will let it show on strikeouts.
And Hud, this is not one of those blame the sun, blame the shadow days either.
No, you're right. It's been a steady overcast all day long. Hasn't been the bright blue sky that the Seattle Mariners had to face in game 1 with Bartolo Colon throwing pellets up there.
At 1 up at his helmet, 2-2.
Diaz doing all he can to get a piece of it. More or less emergency hack. That high fastball will likely set up a slider away.
Jeff Nelson looking to strike out the side. And if this place wasn't frenzied enough already.
Cleveland desperately wanted to get the job done yesterday so they wouldn't have to make this trip up here to the Northwest. Couple key base hits. 2-out rally by the Mariners yesterday. Got him here today.
Cleveland led game 4, 1-0 into the 7th. Could not hold the lead. Lou Piniella said it. If we're going back to Seattle and we know we're going either way, we're taking Cleveland with us. Up the middle, base hit. A chest-high fastball, and he rammed it into center field.
He has again with some excellent high fastball hitting. He just tomahawked this and nearly hit Nelson right in the sternum. He just moved away. Look at that stroke. That's called getting on top. A neck-high heater. Keeping Cleveland alive.
And if Piniella goes to get Rhodes, it'll recreate a Lofton versus Rhodes matchup. Lofton beat Rhodes at this ballpark in the regular season. What a job by Nelson. And an AT&T call to the bullpen. It'll be Rhodes.
Classic example of a veteran pitcher who understands that he is a performer as much as a competitor. The fact he tips his hat to the crowd, he gets a standing O from me. That is so proper. You young pitchers, young major league pitchers out there, don't be afraid to acknowledge the crowd. That's beautiful. Jamie Moyer's the same way.
And now, after Einar Diaz's outstanding at bat, the tying man is coming up. And Hud, a tip of the cap to you, since I know you talked to your musician friend Huey Lewis today. He laid down the soundtrack for Back to the Future, the last line of that movie, Christopher Lloyd. Rhodes, where we're going, we don't need Rhodes. Well, Seattle has absolutely needed Arthur Rhodes, not just during the postseason, but all during the regular season. 8-0 with an ERA of less than 2.
Rhodes will come in to face the left-handed batter Lofton. And what he'll feature is a very hard, heavy fastball. Curveball, slider, change. He's got all four because he used to start mainly fastball sliders. The Cleveland Indians will see here from Arthur.
They need Rhodes desperately here to continue to be what he has been. You saw the numbers flash up there. Lofton does have success against him. One of few lefties that can make that claim. Lofton had a game-winning 2-out 9th-inning hit against Arthur Rhodes back in August. That's surrounding Earring Gate. The battle between Omar Vizquel and Arthur Rhodes wearing those designer earrings.
No shine today.
Vizquel, by the way, on deck. 1-1 the count.
There could be some jewelry folks out there trying to check the clarity of those big diamonds. I'm sure they're nice. Vizquel don't like them. It's not much you like from Arthur Rhodes if you're having to face the guy. Gentleman off the field, but on the field, he's vicious.
Yes, he is. In nice and snug to Lofton. 2-1.
Blinded by the light. There it is.
Huey Lewis, ELO, we do it all.
There you go.
Oh, it's that Manfred man. 2-1.
You're right.
2-2.
It is Manfred man. But that ball is coming up there. Lofton was behind it. Barely got a piece of it. Here comes that music, and here come the Mariner fans. That ball was nearly by him when he swung at that. Dan Wilson deserves a lot of credit for handling this pitching staff this afternoon.
Center field. Sweet music in Seattle. 3 outs left for the Mariners. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It's 3-1 in Game 5.
The Division Series on Fox, presented by MasterCard, is brought to you by Nissan. Nissan introduces the totally new V6 Ultima, the cure for the common car. By Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular. And by Campbell's Chunky Soup that fills you right up.
Kenny Lofton hit a ball that back in Cleveland might have done some damage, but not here in Seattle. We stay 3-1.
Lofton looked like he thought he might have got all that. He had a good short swing on it. But Cameron, he runs anything down that stays in that ballpark, and there's Rhodes with a little body language of his own.
Wilson down the line near third and foul. 3-1 lead for Seattle, bottom of the 8th. The deciding Game 5 here on Fox. Presented by MasterCard. And don't forget, coming up, the Yankees and the A's. They'll decide that incredible series, too.
Wilson's postseason average is creeping up a little bit, but that's not the tail. The tail is he's been able to handle that pitching staff. Foul ball, Ted Barrett.
Gives us a moment to remind everybody, and I'm sure you have committed this to memory by now, but this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball. It may not be
reproduced.
Very good. Or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be
disseminated.
Yeah, without express written consent.
And that means don't copy it.
Thank you, Professor.
Give me a little bit more opportunity to talk about Dan Wilson. Sits back there in his rocking chair, working all night, all afternoon here, catching Jamie Moyer, working Jeff Nelson, Arthur Rhodes. Catchers like Dan are underrated.
Baez brings the heat too high, 2-2.
Wilson was a member of the Cincinnati Reds back when Lou Piniella was managing there. Lou had his eye on Dan Wilson. When Lou came out to Seattle, he says, I'm bringing him with me. He's got a future. Right, indeed he was.
Baez throws one by him, though. Yeah, 1990 when Lou Piniella's Reds won it all. That was Wilson's rookie year as a pro. He started out in Charleston and eventually got to Cincinnati, then, as you say, to Seattle by 94. He's been a fixture ever since. Lou Piniella's 1990 Cincinnati team pulled an upset for the Agents as they swept the heavily favored Oakland A's. Cleveland was poised to pull a major upset here and still could. 9th inning to be played. Norm Charlton, how you doing?
Look at Stormin' Norman. He's chilling right now.
How you doing?
Hey, yo.
How you doing?
One of the nasty boys. Moyer.
How's he doing?
Look at him. This guy right here. Where's one, Pat? Maybe that's Arthur Rhodes saying, way to go. Jamie Moyer, the fact he didn't take the early flight home impresses me.
That's strike 3 to Bell.
Foul tip, you got to go.
Well, we're looking ahead to tonight, but also to tomorrow on Fox. Maddox and Randy Johnson. Game 1, Atlanta and Arizona. Kurt Schilling pitching the Diamondbacks along into the NLCS. You'll see it on Fox tomorrow. Randy Johnson has lost 7 consecutive decisions in the postseason.
Got to have a little run support.
Mark McLemore deserves a mention here too, Rex. This is a guy, I mean, right now he's got the winning hit, the 2 RBI single, 2-out single back in the 2nd. And let me read you the travelogue for McLemore. Just over 2 years, 1990 and 91. Anaheim, Edmonton, Palm Springs, Colorado Springs, Cleveland, Houston, Tucson, Jackson, Rochester. That's in 2 years. This guy bounced all over the place trying to find a gig. And he could be the one 10 years after all that puts the Mariners into the ALCS.
How about that? He's a road warrior. And every player like McLemore has a heart of perseverance. And you have to continue to believe in your dream in order to get there.
Hart, the key word. He's got a big debt to John Hart, the GM in Cleveland. He was one of the guys that welcomed him in through all that. And then when it wasn't going to work out with the Indians, When Carlos Baerga was coming up playing second base, it was John Hart who picked up the phone, called Houston, and said, look, I love this guy. I got no use for him, but I think he can be a player. You want him? So Mark McLemore, though he never did stick with Cleveland, really thanks John Hart for keeping the interest alive in him. That was 10 years ago. A lot of thanks for John Hart today. He has what stands up as a game-winning hit.
And John Hart, his team is 3 outs away from John Hart leaving. He's already announced his retirement from the Indians. Now he could accept another position somewhere else in the game. But he needs to be congratulated on his run with the Indians.
Well, the Indians have been the Central Division champions 6 of the last 7 years. But they are still looking for that first World Series title since the 1940s. And we've told the story about Omar Vizquel, how year after year it's back to Venezuela, to the remote mountainous part, to ponder what went wrong. 3 outs away from pondering some more. As we go to the 9th, and Vizquel will lead it off. Then it's Alomar and Gonzalez. It's 3-1. Well, the Cleveland Indians have played 1,498 innings this year. And now it all comes down to one more. They need to get to Kazuhiro Sasaki. They need 2 to tie.
Well, Sasaki, he won't be easy. He's got a nice fastball around 93 miles an hour. He'll throw the split finger 2 different speeds. One's a get-me-over pitch, and the other one ends up in the dirt. Both of them have downward movement. Polished closer, last year's Rookie of the Year, which really, he's not a rookie. He holds the all-time lead for saves in Japan.
And he will open here with the former Seattle Mariner, who is getting lustily booed here, Omar Vizquel. Vizquel, Alomar, Gonzalez. And a 3-1 game, top of the 9th.
Meat of the order, just what Cleveland wants. But they need base runners. Bell, Olerud at the corners are in. Vizquel can bunt with the best of them.
Has bunted for a hit once today. Strike 1.
Kazuhiro will use a 4-seamer and a 2-seamer. That had a little run on it.
Swept along to first. 1 out. Cleveland has been a worthy opponent for a team that was 20 games over compared to Seattle's 70 games over. But they need to rally very quickly here. It's Alomar to the plate.
Bell in at third base to protect from the bunt down the line. Olerud will play back, give him more range to cover in case Alomar hits him a hot shot. You can see the background there. It's bright. The sun has broken through.
What a job Seattle pitching has done today, keeping the Indians' leadoff men off base. Only 1 inning did they get the leadoff man on. That's the inning in which the Indians scored. Pat Gillick, the architect of this team, the GM, is Seattle club 2 outs away.
Gillick facing elimination yesterday and today.
He can't even look at himself here. He just turned off the TV.
It's that nasty split finger. He can throw it for strikes, and he can get you to swing over the top of it in the dirt. That's what makes him so effective. Ichiro doesn't have to start you off with the fastball. He'll use the split finger just like he did there.
And you saw the sign, remember, it was Cleveland that dumped Seattle 6 years ago.
That's just nasty. People are eating it up. It's been like this all year up here in Seattle.
116 regular season wins. Third base. And your winner, Seattle. Seattle lost Game 3, 17-2. They had to win Game 4 to get Game 5, and they've won this one too. Your final is 3-1. For Rex Hudler, Josh Lewin, stay with us. Yankees and A's coming up, and Jeannie Zalasko will help get you there. Congratulations, Seattle.
Lofton takes him deep, but not deep enough. Cameron under it. Let's go to the ninth inning. 1 out. Roberto Alomar had a tough day at the plate. Grounded into 2 double plays. Strikes out there. So it's going to be up to Juan Gonzalez. He had the hot stick coming into this series, and to the hot corner.
And your winner, Seattle.
Seattle advances to the ALCS with the 3-1 win in this one. As the bats in there, Alomar, Gonzalez, Burks, and Tomey 0 for 14 in this one. And it's all about Ichiro for the Mariners. 3 base hits, none of them left the infield. And he scored that 3rd insurance run on Edgar Martinez's RBI. Edgar had to come out of this game with an injury. We'll tell you more about that when we know more. Moyer was just fantastic. And then they went to Nelson, Rhodes, Sasaki. Nice to have that if you're Lou Piniella. Very shortly, we're going to be going to a little post game. We're going to hear from the victorious Mariners.
It's short hopped out there. The Mariners are going to score two. A diving try out there by Cordova, but he short hopped the ball, and McLemore has come through. The Mariners have.
We're coming up with some early mojo, and the Mariners are heading back to the American League Championship Series. It's all over.
That sounds sweet. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to our Fox Sports Net studio, along with Bill Wixie and Bill Kruger. I'm Tom Glasgow. 3-2, 3-1 the final score today in the M's. Going to the ALCS. Whew, man, we were nervous all day long watching this game, but it turned out sweet.
You know, you talked to a lot of people about this game, and we talked about it yesterday. Everybody very confident about what Jamie Moyer was going to bring to the table today. He comes out, and he was as solid as we thought he'd be. He was as good as we knew he needed to be, and he goes out and gives them exactly what they needed. 6 innings. He hands it over to the bullpen. Game
Case
over.
closed. I'll tell you what, you were in good hands with Jamie Moyer. As I said the last couple of nights, Jamie's been awesome against Cleveland. He's risen to the occasion, and he was terrific today. And, of course, once it got to the bullpen, they were rock solid, unhittable.
Yeah, we're going to break Jamie down in more detail in just a couple of moments. But I think it's worth talking about in terms of this team, and it has been a common theme all season long, is the resiliency of this ball club. To think what happened Saturday in Cleveland and where we are today, I think speaks volumes to the character of this ball club.
And it really starts with Lou Piniella. You know, he's had a real loose attitude about it. I mean, he plays hard, he gets mad when things don't go right, but he keeps taking chances.
Seattle advances 3-1 over the Indians, and you got to start with the starting pitcher for Seattle, Jamie Moyer. 6 innings, 6 Ks, 3 hits, 1 run. A crafty lefty who was a master of his craft today.
Right, and what he does, he matches up well with the Cleveland hitters. They're big swingers. They're looking to take you deep. And what Jamie Moyer did today is he kept the ball away from their strings. He kept the ball down. Hirschbeck behind the plate had a pretty big zone, pretty liberal, and Jamie Moyer took advantage of that, and he kept the ball away from him, and he didn't let them do anything or get anything going offensively. I know they were very frustrated. They had faced him twice now this series. It didn't seem like they made enough adjustments, maybe scooting up on the plate, things of that nature. They just sat back and wailed away. Jamie Moyer threw that changeup away to the right-handers, cutter and the sinker to left-handers, and they couldn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, 4th inning, Gonzalez, Burks, Thome all leave it sitting on their shoulder. They start arguing with Mark Hirschbeck. Cordova starts out the next inning leaving it on his shoulder, deflated him. Looks like they got into a little scrap with Hirschbeck behind the plate.
Right, well, they found out.
Bad decision. Cammy gave it his best shot to knock the ball loose, couldn't do it.
Top 3, runners at the corners. Kenny Lofton, base hit center field. Travis Fryman coming in to score. It's a 1-run ball game. Next batter, Jamie gets out of a jam. Roberto Alomar grounds into the 5-4-3, and we're out of the inning.
Woo! Rough
Robbie
day.
Alomar grounding into double plays.
Yeah, top of the 4th, Jamie Moyer cruising. Juan Gonzalez out looking. Ellis Burks gone looking. Jim Thome, are you sensing a theme here? Gone looking. Moyer, 6 innings, just 1 run, 3 hits, and 6 Ks. Bottom of the 5th, bases loaded. That's David Risky on the mound, the kid from Renton facing Brett Boone. And, Booney did not have an RBI in this series, 11 Ks. It was rough, but the good news is he's got to get better in the ALCS. Top of the 7th, Nelly on in relief, gets Thome to ground out to second. And Booney doing a nice job, a great dig by Ole at first, still a 2-1 game. Bottom of the 7th, Ichiro up the gut, stopped by Omar. Omar, though, as good as he is, not good enough to get Ichiro. Now Ichi will pick it up at second base with Edgar at the dish, and no one comes through like Edgar Martinez.
On the way to Edgar Martinez, swinging a line drive into left center field, off to another run, can't get to it. Here comes Ichiro, flying around third, heading home, he scores! A 2-out RBI single for Edgar Martinez. It's the Mariners 3 and the Indians 1, and the Mariners.
To the top of the 9th, 2 outs. At the dish, it's Juan Gonzalez facing Kazuhiro Sasaki. The ground ball to David Bell, Mr. Reliable. And line up for your tickets to the ALCS. It is over. The Mariners take it 3-1 and take the series 3-2, and you see the celebration at Safeco Field.
Tommy, I think you're a little bit late. I think the line is already formed.
Get back to form a few days ago.
For tickets for the American League Championship Series. Ichiro, what do you say about Ichiro? He goes 3 for 4 with a run scored in this ball game. Ichiro for this series was 12 for 20, batting .600. Unbelievable, Bill.
Slow pitch softball numbers. I mean, unbelievable. He had just a fabulous series, and we knew he was a great player, but I think he's shown he's even better than that in the playoffs.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about Jamie Moyer, Bill. Let's break down what he did today on 3 days rest.
Advantage of it now, he just needs to relax and calm down and get himself a base hit for one. But it looks like he's overswinging a bit. But when you're going bad and your teammates pick you up, that has to make him feel a lot better. I look for him to have a better series next time.
One guy who picked it up for Boone and the Mariners was Mark McLemore. Not only with the stick, but at shortstop, he committed the error in the first, all 3 chances to him, but he made some nice plays both in the field and at the plate.
McLemore is a guy they can put it.
With double play balls, Robbie Alomar, not the same guy, right-handed, only 279. This is the one scratch they got. They got 1 extra base hit, Travis Fryman off Moyer the whole series. Lofton drives him in, but then he gets out of the jam. Robbie Alomar rolling over a changeup. He did it twice in the first 3 innings, got him out of big jams. And, of course, when you're at short or at third, you're going to get a lot of ground balls. This is the master. He broke this out against Manny Ramirez early in the season. A changeup in, a la Greg Maddux, locked him up for a strikeout. There's the backdoor slider. Mark Hirschbeck behind the plate calling the old strike zone, which was just wonderful for Jamie Moyer because he was down and below the knee, but they were calling that pitch. But I'll tell you what, when you can make a perfect pitch time and time again, you earn that pitch, and Hirschbeck gave it to him. You saw the numbers. He's been unbelievable. He's got to be the MVP of this series. As good as Ichiro's been, Jamie's the reason the Mariners are advancing.
Pressure? What pressure? We wondered how fresh he would be flying cross country, not getting a whole lot of sleep coming into this one, and he was absolutely terrific. He really was. And the Mariners come through in a pressure-packed situation. They kind of scoffed at the fact that, people said, you guys don't know pressure. You guys haven't played in a pressure situation this season. And they said, no, that's not true. We've played a lot of pressure ball games, but nothing quite like what they've dealt with. But in rubber matches during the regular season this year, they were 16-2 in series that were tied going into the final game. That says something about the resiliency of this team, and I think we saw it again yesterday, and we saw it again today.
Well, look, the point about pressure, I think, is one that people were grasping at and trying to find a kink in the armor, but let's keep in mind a good chunk of the players on this roster were in some pressure-packed games last year by virtue of simply being in the playoffs. I don't think you forget that, Bill. That's not something that goes away.
You've got players that have been playing for a long time, Javier, McLemore. You go right through the lineup. They have players that have been around and been in those situations plenty of times. And I think after they proved themselves yesterday, after that 17-3 drubbing, you could see the swagger was back. They kind of had some backhanded comments from the media. Hey, you guys have been saying we can't do this, we can't do that. You watch us. You watch us tomorrow as we deliver. That was the comment that I heard, basically, and they went out and they did it.
Well, let's talk about this just for fun. It really doesn't matter in the big picture. The MVP issue, and you said it's got to be Jamie Moyer. We were talking about this earlier in the newsroom.
Ichiro's number. It went 12 for 20.
Do they split it?
How do you I think you can look at those 12 for 20. He put a lot of pressure on the other team. The thing was, if the Mariners have driven Ichiro in, and he scores a lot of runs in this series, he's the easy MVP. That didn't happen. That's why this series went to 5 games, because the Mariners were not producing with runners in scoring position. That's why it's got to be Jamie Moyer, because both times he came back and won must games and did it so well. He got the ball to the best part of the Mariners team, and that's their bullpen. He got it to them, and then they delivered.
And you make a very good point. Look what the Mariners were able to do against 2 of their big bombers, Kenny Lofton and Jim Thome, in this series. These guys just could not get anything going. Kenny Lofton, 2 for 19 at the plate with 2 runs scored. He had the RBI base hit today. And then Jim Thome, 3 for 19? With the solo home run?
And this is a guy who, by the time his career is over, may be the all-time home run king in the postseason. So it's a tremendous job by the Mariners pitching staff, especially when you consider the lack of productivity from 2 key guys in this series, and that's Brett Boone and John Olerud. And Boone's numbers, I think unofficially, we had 2 for 21. That may be right, with 11 Ks. So, again, when you move on to an ACLS, the reason I think you have to be optimistic regarding Brett is I would think he would say, I can't get any worse than I've been over these past 5 games. So There you go.
Yeah, Booty's in a serious funk, Bill. What's going on with him?
Well, he's really feeling for the baseball. He looks like he's pulling off a little bit, and then when he gets to 2 strikes, he's just, he's almost watching the bat go through the strike zone. I mean, I'm not a hitter, but I think that he just needs to remind himself what a good player he is, maybe have a conversation with his dad and get that cockiness back, and realize, too, that he's got a lot of support around him. He doesn't have to carry the whole load and not think that way at the plate. There's some mechanical things he's doing wrong. I think he's pulling off the baseball. That's clear. I think he knows he's doing it, but he can't seem to stop himself from doing it. He started off really aggressive early in the series, taking some big swings, and then just could never get anything going.
Now the mechanic stuff, I mean, are we, in most situations when a guy goes sour like this, are we talking it's mental first that leads to the bad mechanics, or is it bad mechanics and then the head gets into play?
I think it started with bad mechanics. He came out super aggressive, really taking big hacks like you saw right there early against Cologne, who was really, really tough. And then Sabathia is no picnic either. I just think that he saw some good pitching, and I think that he just needs to relax and remember what a great player he is. Get that front shoulder going into the baseball, start taking everything to right field, and then let the rest of the game come because he's got so much good support around him.
I want to let you know we are waiting for post-game reaction from Safeco Field from both managers and players. When the guys start talking, we'll get you right back to the ballpark. Chuck Finley today. I mean, he was, with that splitter, he was driving the M's hitters nuts, and he did a very credible job. I mean, you can't point the finger at Chuck Finley today.
No, not at all. I mean, he just hasn't pitched deep in ball games. This guy was a horse. I mean, he's one of the best left-handers the past 15 years, but he's been hurt all year. He's only been averaging 5 innings a start, and as soon as he got into a jam in the 5th, he took him out. But of the 13 outs that Chuck Finley got, he struck out 7 Mariners, and he had a filthy split finger going. As you can see, the one that's diving away to get Dan Wilson, and then he broke out the curveball. He only used it a few times, but he turned David Bell into a pair of shoes right there. And then the one real big mistake he made. Mark McLemore, hey, a 169 hitter against left-handed pitching. He challenged him with a first pitch fastball right down the chute. Mac was ready to hit, drove it in, and that was really the only thing they got up of Chuck Finley. He gives up the scratch hit here to Ichiro. Geez, Ichiro hits a 3-bouncer, he's on base. I mean, that's not a bad pitch. I think what really killed Finley was the walks. He really got hurt by walks. He walked Olerud and Martinez, and that really led to the 2 runs that were scored, and you see the numbers. And I think some of that is just because Chuck was trying to be so perfect with his fastball that he needed to be a little bit more aggressive in the zone, but after that 4-run first, he really had to dance around. Had he been allowed to stay in this ball game, the numbers would have been even better, but they had to go to the bullpen early in the middle of the ball game.
Much more with Bill, analysis of Game 5, but right now we take you back to Safeco Field. Tribe skipper Charlie Manuel at the podium.
Before Game 2, Chuck Finley said he may have been a little over-anxious. Did you sense any of that today?
No, I did not really. I think today, the one inning when he got in trouble, I think he was still trying to find his command of his pitches. I think and when Finley's good, he's got to get all 3 of his pitches over the plate. I think the same thing happened today when with bases loaded there. Like that, when he loaded the bases and McLemore got the hit. I think in that inning there, I think he was still scuffling to find his control and his and like he get location on his pitches.
Would you talk about your general feelings right now about the playoffs?
No, anytime you play a 5-game series, it's kind of tough. But like I look, and Seattle's got a great ball club. They won 116 games. And the last 2 days, especially, I felt like their pitching really kind of shut us down. Like we got a pretty good offense. I think we proved that the other day when we scored 17 runs, but at the same time, they got great quality pitching, and I think that they definitely they stopped our hitting. And usually on a good day, I'd say an average day for us scoring runs, we're going to score 4 to 6 runs a game. And I mean, that's just kind of like just an ordinary day for us. And our pitching shut us down. They held us. And I felt like the last 2 days, that definitely was a turning point of the series.
Tom?
Charlie, are you surprised at all that the Mariners didn't press more for all the burdens they had on them with the 100?
Were you surprised at all that the Mariners didn't press more with all the burdens they had on them with the 116-win season?
Not really. They play the other day when we had a big wide score and a big game. I felt like things kind of got away from them. But what they play, they just play steady baseball, and and they play the game right way it's supposed to be played. And I tell you what, when they get in a close game with you, like it's pretty tough beating them because their pitching steps up, and at the same time they got some pretty good hitters. Ichiro's a heck of a leadoff hitter. He makes their team go. I don't know how we stop him, and also at the same time they got Edgar Martinez and Boone and Olerud. They got some good middle lineup hitters, and then they got some very good complementary players that really complement their lineup, and they play good baseball. They got a lot of they've had a lot of success in the game as far as experience goes and knowing how to play the game. And to me, this is what makes them a good team. They are a team.
There, right over there. Go ahead.
Charlie, you talked a little about you talked about the hitting today and their pitching. The strike zone seemed to float a little bit. It seemed like the hitters just had trouble getting comfortable with what was a strike and what wasn't.
Strike zone seemed to float a little today. It seemed like the hitters maybe had trouble getting comfortable with what was a strike and what wasn't.
I think our players, I think the kind of team we got, I think that we don't like to cry or over, like a strike zone or a bitch or whatever, moan or whatever. And as a manager, I definitely don't want to complain about strike zones and things like that. But I felt like today that Moyer was definitely getting the ball down. And, I can't tell from a dugout, where the ball's at as far as in or out. But he was definitely getting the ball down, and this was confusing our hitters. And they were coming back, and and it wasn't like that they were, they were just upset because they felt like that the balls were low. And, I felt like that just right here, that really helped Moyer as far as the way he pitches.
Couple more.
Charlie, why do you think that you look at the games you lost, and I don't think you scored more than 2 runs in the game?
Why did you think? Why did the offense just shut down?
I think Terry, I think that's a credit to their pitching. I think if you saw, actually, the first game we won, and when we beat Garcia, things went our way. I think yesterday things went their way, but in a game where we beat them 17-2, I think their pitching, I think we got to their fourth and fifth starters. And I think the first 3 guys out, especially the 2, Moyer and Garcia, I think they're really top-of-the-line pitchers.
Okay, last question, Ed.
Your bullpen got you out of some big jams. Did you think, you keep this close, and we're going to explode here sooner or later? Is that what you were thinking?
Your bullpen got you out of some big jams. Were you thinking we'll keep this close, and we'll explode later?
I think when Risky stopped him in that 1 inning, I thought we was going to win the game. I thought, and the reason why, I thought that would pick us up, and I thought somewhere along the line, we'd get some big hits. I've been saying all along, if we can keep the game close, we can win it, because I always felt like we could hit our ball club during the season hits good pitching. If you'd have seen this, we can hit set up guys and closers. I mean, we've got an experienced guys on the field, and actually, I got to give credit to Seattle's pitching because they definitely held our offense down.
Thank you, Charlie. Thanks for everything.
Right. Thank you.
All right, we'll have more Mariner reaction from Safeco Field momentarily, but an interesting point Charlie Manuel makes there. He says his hitters were confused by the low strikes being called. Jamie Moyer, the beneficiary there.
Well, we knew that Mark Hirschbeck was a pitcher's umpire. He's a good umpire. But I thought I saw something happen like we got in the Wayback Machine, because this was the old strike zone, and he called it for Jamie. Jamie repeated pitches, but twice on Burks and once on Cordova, 3 called strike 3s that were below the new strike zone. So they have reason to complain, but you know what? Jamie Moyer's pitched in the high strike zone all year and been very successful, and you know what? He repeated those pitches, and that's why he earned them.
Bill, let me ask you this, though. It's always said that hitters don't care what your strike zone is as long as your strike zone is consistent. Does that not apply in a situation like today, or on that particular call, is it just too tough to adjust to?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. They have to adjust. But for Jamie to get those balls down, he makes him almost impossible to hit. And everybody was talking about the new zone, how they brought the strike zone, calling the higher pitch. And that just didn't happen today. We didn't see that at all. Jamie got the ball down and got those pitches called. That was big for him.
Okay, if you're like us and weren't able to listen to the call today on the radio, Dave Niehaus had a pretty nice call as the Mariners wrapped up Game 5 of the divisional series today. Here's Dave Niehaus's call of the final out.
The stretch and the 0-2 pitch on the way. Swinging a line shot, one hopper into David Bell. He throws to first. Is the third time charm. The Mariners will find out. They'll play for the American League Championship. against either.
Oh, man. It would have been so good to be at the ballpark today.
I know. What are we doing here in the studio?
We got to be here. It's not a bad second choice, but being there it certainly had to be a thrill for all those fans. So, third trip to the ALCS. The first trip, of course, 95. The Mariners losing 4-2 to the Indians. Last season, of course, losing 4-2 to the New York Yankees. So I would say they are due for a 4-2 victory over the A's or Yankees, whoever comes about.
Well, and that raises a good point. I mean, who do we want to face now, Bill? I mean, who do the Mariners do better against?
Well, they certainly have better
Yanks.
numbers against the Yankees this year. But, you know, the Yankees seem to be able to step up the level of play like they're doing right now. So they're like the big heavyweight. You're going to have to knock them out to beat them. And the A's are a little nicked up with Jermaine Dye with a fractured tibia, not out for the year. That's going to hurt their lineup because they're going to lose defense and they're going to lose that batting between Chavez and Giambi. So the Mariners are 500 against the A's. I almost think the Yankees might be a better match.
I think it's
and
just
they're a little
great.
banged up too.
I think it's great theater too when you consider what those two teams did in '95. A really terrific show they put on last season. Why not rematch with them in the ALCS and try to take them down and end the dynasty?
And you've got
that's
Clemens,
a great
who
opportunity.
is not 100%, who is going tonight for the Yanks. You've got Andy Pettitte, who is questionable, looked pretty good in game 2, but you know.
Well, you still got to recognize the Yankees are good. They can put a good lineup on against left-handers or right-handers, and all the players are stepping up their level of play. Mussina's the big horse right now, but El Duque stepped up and pitched well too. So you can never shortchange the Yankees. They're going to be very tough, but I think they're a little bit lighter in the bullpen because the Mariners have their guy Jeff Nelson, and they have not been able to replace him, and I think that's going to be their Achilles heel.
That would be another great angle too to see Nelly going against the Yankees in the postseason. Before we get there, though, who do you like tonight in Game 5 between those two teams?
Well, I think this is going to be a great game. I mean, I think it's a tough call because, you know what's interesting? The A's have a Yankee team. It's like the ghost visitation from old Yankees of past. They've got the best left-hander in baseball on the hill, and they got all that left-hand hitting. It fits perfect in Yankee Stadium, so I think it's going to be an epic battle. Will Roger Clemens be healthy enough to battle him?
That's the question.
And they've got all that left-hand hitting and pitching. I think it's going to be a great game.
Mariners skipper Lou Piniella stepping to the podium.
Well, I said all along that wouldn't be a burden for us in postseason. Postseason's just a completely different situation from the regular season. All the teams that qualify are all capable of winning, and that's the way to approach it, and that's exactly the way we approach it as a team.
Are there things, Lou, when you've been so successful? I mean, we had Cincinnati and upset Oakland in that sweep. I mean, are there things you have to...
It happens, Tracy. It really does. I mean, you get to the final 8, and they're all good baseball teams. In fact, I'd like to congratulate Cleveland on the way they played. They really played well this series. This game here, my God, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better ball game. But anything can happen in postseason. You can have an outstanding year, and all of a sudden you get an injury here or a bad break there, and it turns the whole thing around. And when you get to the final 8, all these teams are good, solid baseball teams. They all can beat you. And I knew coming in here that this division battle against Cleveland was going to be much tougher for us than the Chicago series this year. And not because Chicago had a bunch of talent and they had a great team, but they hadn't been there before. This is a playoff tested bunch of veterans that have been there many, many times, and they played like it. It was a heck of a playoff, and we're fortunate to come out on top.
Yeah.
As the game unfolded, you guys had a couple of opportunities to blow it open. Were you worried that was going to come back or not?
Well, you always, in the back of your mind, you squander opportunities, and basically it allows the other team to stay in the ball game and come back at you. But, you know, our pitching today was really, really solid. It started with Jamie, and then the contrast with Nelson. I think Nelly threw the ball today as well as I've seen him in a long, long time now. He's done a very fine job all year, but today he was exceptional. And then Rhodesy gets us a big out, and then Sasaki comes in and gets us 2, 3, 4 right in the middle part of their lineup. Not an easy save.
John.
All season long, you guys proved you could use about anything except play it in pressure situations. The last 2 games was nothing but pressure situations. Can you talk about that?
Well, when you win 116 ball games in the course of the year, during the course of a baseball season, you can play under any type of situation, basically. And, you know, we rely on pitching and solid defense. That's a constant almost every day. And it's a good formula. You know, today, if we could have broken the game open a few times, it would have made things much easier for us. But at the same time, Cleveland's got a pretty darn good bullpen. You know, they kept talking about our bullpen, and our bullpen is good, no question about it. But Cleveland, they've got some good arms over there that throw the ball, and you got to give them credit. But this is fun. This is not pressure. It really isn't. It might seem like if you put me on a deadline to write a story, that would be pressure. Well, you know what? Because I'm not used to that. But we do this every day for a living, so it's fun for us. I mean, this is what we go to spring training for. This is what we play an entire season to get to this situation. And I said it after we got beaten Cleveland 17-2. We're going to come out and play well tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get Cleveland to come to Seattle with us. And then we're going to play a good game the final day. And you never know. You're never guaranteed or assured of anything. But if you go out there and play hard like we did, good things can happen. And that's exactly what happened the last couple of days.
Art.
Lou, from a hitter's perspective, you can see the Cleveland batters getting more and more frustrated. Jamie struck out on the side. What was, from their standpoint, as you watched, what was the difficulty they had?
You know, Cleveland has got some really good fastball hitters. And unless you can throw the ball up there 93, 94, 95 miles an hour, you're going to have problems. But good fastball hitters invariably are a little more susceptible to the off-speed stuff. And Jamie exploited that exceptionally well. And he made some good pitches. I mean, he didn't stay. He wasn't. I saw quite a few of them, and when I went over and looked at them on film, and they weren't centered. I mean, these pitches were out on the corners, and Jamie can do that because he's got such good command.
Let's take one more because Jamie Moyer's waiting. Yes.
How key was it to shut down the middle of the Cleveland?
Well, you know, the important thing with almost any club in postseason is to shut down the first few hitters in the lineup. If you can do that, now you can concentrate a heck of a lot more and take a few more liberties with the power part of it. So our objective was to keep Lofton and Vizquel off the bases as much as possible. You can see in the game where we really got beat up, they did a lot of damage the first two holes. And boy, now you get your guys that are getting paid to drive in runs, and they've got a slew of them over there that do it quite well. Boy, they can hurt you.
Blake Placid, you have one quick question. The first two innings, could you explain what happened offensively? Can you guys look at that?
For us?
Yeah.
Our game plan was, believe it or not, if Ichiro got on base in the first inning, was to bunt him over and attempt to steal third. That was pre-planned.
The second inning when Ichiro was out, first and third?
That one there wasn't planned. Thanks.
Okay, thank you,
All
Lou.
right.
Jamie?
Lou Piniella in a good mood, and why not? He's going to be planning for an American League Championship Series as we await the arrival of Jamie Moyer, who is simply outstanding today. 6 innings, allowing just 1 run, and it looks like there are some smaller Moyers with him. Let's go back to Safeco Field.
Taking questions, you guys, or just Jamie?
Taking questions.
First question for any of the Moyers. Anybody have a question? Yes, Ed.
For the big one on the left there. After they got the one run, you come back and strike out the side in the very next inning.
After they got the 1 run, you came back and struck out the side in the next inning. What changed?
For some reason, I feel like in the 4th inning, I got a second wind, and I really don't know why or how that happened, but I went out to the mound, and I almost felt like we had scored a couple runs in the bottom half of the inning. That was kind of the energy that I had when I went out to the mound. And I thought I made some pretty decent pitches, and they chose not to swing.
Tom? How much of part of your game is frustration, that guys get more and more frustrated?
That's a hard question for me to answer because I'm not the hitter. Some guys get frustrated, but other guys don't. Well, I think the only thing I can play to is just trying to play to what I'm trying to do, and that's make my pitches, whether they're off speed or whether they're fastballs. I mean, it's I don't know. I think the media makes more out of it than what it really is.
Another one? Yes. What can you say about the Seattle fans today?
It was exciting to be able to come home and play Game 5 here and win the game. Knowing that the fans were behind us and supporting us, it's a big lift.
One more, Jim. Talk about what this means to you personally to come back and win 2 games.
Well, it's exciting to be able to contribute. I think the way we played all year long, everybody contributed, and everybody's continuing to contribute, and it's great to be a key factor in that contribution.
John?
Jamie, you guys played all year, you proved a lot of stuff. You never really had a pressure situation. The last 2 days, you had nothing but pressure. Can you talk about how you guys reacted?
The last 2 days you had nothing but pressure after a season in which you didn't have a lot of pressure games. Can you talk about that a little?
Well, I think it shows a little bit more what we're made of. You're right in your statement that we probably really didn't go through any spells where we really had to win a game at any certain time. But I think this whole series, we got off to we lost the first game. We were down 0-1. We came back and tied it up. And we go to Cleveland and we split. Knowing that we're coming back home, I think is a big plus for us.
Okay.
But being able to force the issue and knowing that the last 2 games have been win or go home.
John. Talked about how many good fastball hitters they have. Going into that, do you throw more changeups?
Not necessarily. Not premeditated. No. Again, I'm trying to read the reaction of the hitter and base, a lot of my decisions off of that and go from there. But, there's times where you try to play a little cat and mouse game. And I noticed at one point I changed 2 balls, and I think it was Jim's second at bat. And it looked, it was like he didn't want to look at the ball when I threw home. And, for some reason the hitters think it's a game I'm playing, and I'm just trying to exchange balls. So, but if they want to play into it, I'll play with them too.
Okay. This gentleman here.
Jamie, can you talk about the 3rd inning? You were able to get Alomar out pretty easily. They hit a rough game. Can you talk about
Would you talk about the 3rd inning? You got Alomar out pretty easily. He seemed to have a rough game.
Well, Robbie's a pretty darn good hitter. I've had a lot of good, he's given me a lot of good at bats over the course of our history. When he was in Toronto, when he was in Baltimore, and now in Cleveland. And I respect what he can do with a bat. And fortunately, I was able to induce a couple ground balls off of him and keep him at bay. But the big thing for me is just trying to make good pitches and force them to swing the bat.
Last one, Art.
Jamie, this is your first must-win game. How alike and how different was it from the other games?
This was your first must-win game. How alike and how different was it from other postseason games?
I've had a game like that in college once. Okay. I really tried not to put any more pressure on myself with today's outing. Just like my in Game 2 or any other game during the course of the season. Again, this is you're in the playoffs. It's icing on the cake. It should be fun, and that's really the way I try to try to look at things and try to approach things. And because I think at times when you try to put pressure on yourself, before you know it, you're doing things that you don't want to be doing. So I think, you know, to really stay cognizant of what's going on around you and what you're thinking, I think is very important.
We'll let you get back to the clubhouse. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phyllis.
We're still expecting Jeff Nelson and Mark McLemore. Okay. And then
All right. Yeah, Jamie makes some good points. I mean, it's hard to sit here and think that Jamie Moyer's out there on the mound and just having fun in a situation like this, where so many of us in this town are just wrapped up in this baseball team, and we can't think about much else. And here's Jamie Moyer on the hill in a big game like this, and he's just out there trying to have fun.
I think it is easier on the players, though, and Bill, you can address this better than we can. I mean, you're in your element. Lou talked about that. He goes, if I had to meet a deadline, write in a newspaper column, that would be pressure. That's not his element. Talk about that.
As long as guys are doing what they're used to doing. I mean, Moyer's used to being a starting pitcher. He's done it for a long time. He's been in pressure situations. This was just another start for Jamie, and he had a lot of things working for him. He's pitching very well against a team he dominated. So he was in his comfort zone. It's when you have to do something that's out of your comfort zone, which would be, for example, Mark McLemore playing shortstop in a big series. Now, that is a little bit out of your comfort zone. No matter what he says, that's coming through big, and Mac came through big in this series.
And Moyer now the, fifth all-time to win 2 games in an ALDS. Randy Johnson did it. Armando Benitez did it in '96 for Baltimore. Mike Mussina did it in '97 for Baltimore against the Mariners. Jared Wright in '97 for Cleveland. And Jamie Moyer in 2001
Not a bad list.
for the Seattle Mariners. And I'll tell you another thing that makes Jamie feel a little bit more comfortable is handing that ball over to the bullpen.
Wow, how about the bullpen? The gauntlet was outstanding. You know, 9 scoreless innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. That's pretty much turned the lights out. It starts with Nelson, it goes to Rhodes and on to Sasaki. And today, Nelly was awesome. He was able to throw his fastball for a strike, and that just opened up the plate for that wicked Nintendo slider. He was using his fastball effectively, able to take it and move it on both sides of the plate. And when you do that, and then you can throw that slider that nobody can touch, you're going to have a lot of fun. You can see what he did right there. 92 mile an hour, back it up on the corner fastball to Fryman. Nelly punched out 4 guys. He was really locked in. This is the way Nelson pitched the earlier part of the year, and he's been in a bit of a funk of walking people, but he's locked back in. Arthur comes in and gets a big out. Gets Kenny Goffin, who's been a nemesis for him. Has big numbers against him. Of course, went through and got the big hit in the 1 loss they had at the end of the season. And then Kazu, my goodness, Kazu. Everybody was worried about him. But you know what? Big stage, bright lights. He had 3 saves in this series and just was awesome. He threw his breaking ball for strikes. He spotted his fastball, and that unhittable split. He was really terrific. I think it just needed to be turned up a notch for Kazu to get interested. And he got interested in this series, and it's great to see the way he's throwing a baseball.
Lou was worried about him. I mean, forget us. Lou Piniella was worried about the guy heading into the postseason. So you're right, he turned it around in a hurry.
I think a lot of that, you know, Lou has to watch out for everybody. And if the one element of the game that he doesn't have as good a grasp on is understanding what drives pitchers. And I think that would make him nervous, much as if you were a pitcher as a manager, you'd worry about a guy like Brett Boone being in a funk right now. So, you know, that's kind of how it is. And you speak from experience.
And Lou talking about how Nelly was exceptional today.
Yes.
I mean, and he was outstanding. His numbers terrific. 1 2/3 innings, 4 strikeouts, just 1 hit. I mean, the guy was money.
And you know something, when you have to get guys out like Gonzalez, and you have to get out those big right-hand hitters, Ellis Burks, he really handled them well, handled Tomei. He did a nice job. They didn't have to spot a left-hander in there early. He went ahead and let him get Tomei out, and then he just marches through those big right-hand hitters. Just as we predicted coming into the season, Jeff Nelson was going to dominate. 119 during the season against right-hand hitters. He's carrying that forward in the playoffs, and that is one of the real big edges the Mariners have going further.
Another huge performance in this series, Ichiro. A lot of people didn't know what to expect from him in the bright lights of the postseason. What does he do? He goes out and just goes 12 for 20, batting 600 in his first taste of the playoffs. I mean, what do you say about this guy, Bill?
I don't know, but if it bounces more than twice, he's at first base. This is, you know, it's kind of like watching the old and the new. You saw Kenny Lofton hit a ball like that 4 years ago. That's a base hit. Ichiro is the new. Now, this was a giveaway. They really, Max on his own running. He ran on first movement. Finley pretty quick to the plate, but when you got a guy that's hitting 450 with runners in scoring position, let him swing the bat. They kind of squandered a few opportunities with Ichiro trying to steal third. And then, you know, Alomar, one of the best second basemen of all time, maybe the best, he knows he has to hurry because, again, it bounced more than twice. That means he's probably going to be here. And this is the most amazing play. Look how quickly Omar gets to his feet and makes a perfect play. He still cannot throw the guy out. And we saw Omar's reaction. He kind of gave it that woo, you know. And there are the numbers.
Yeah. Just today, 3 of 4, 3 singles.
Lefties,
Bill
righties,
talked about
it doesn't
what he's done in
matter.
this series. It's really stunning. You know, the other thing Lupinella talked about, I thought that was interesting, making the point that you know, if you keep Omar and Lofton and Alomar off the base paths, good things are going to happen. And in the 3 Mariner wins in this series, those 3 guys have combined 5 of 36. And so when you talk about pitching and defense, when you're not getting the offensive production you want, the Mariners just got at the right time, better pitching and better defense.
Yeah, you shut those guys down, the guys that set the table, that's big. I don't think we've talked enough about the game that Freddie Garcia had to pitch after that 17-2 drubbing, where everything's on the line. The Indians a much better team against right-handed pitching, and I'll tell you what, that young man stepped up big and showed why he is the horse. Got a lot of confidence, Freddie. A lot more pressure in that game than Jamie's game today, even though there was pressure. I think Freddie's game was a much bigger game, and he came through really big.
And that brings up an interesting next point, and that is, where do the Mariners go now in the American League Championship Series? The guy who has been their ace the latter part of the season, Jamie Moyer, has been spent today.
Right.
Freddie went yesterday.
Right.
Who starts Game 1 of the American League Championship Series, and then who starts Game 2? I mean, these are some big questions for the Mariners to answer right now.
Well, I think there is a big question. I think Aaron Seeley is going to get the ball for Game 1. He's been very solid all year long. He's won a lot of games for the Mariners. He's won a lot of games in his career over the last 4 years. He had a bad start, but some of that was poor defense. The Mariners have to play good defense behind Aaron. He does not survive well with errors and bobbles and bad decisions. He's got to have that, and if he gets it, he's going to be fine. He's going to be solid. He's going to give him a good ball game, and then it's going to be a question of whether you bring Freddie Garcia back on 3 days rest, which I think they probably will do now that I've been penciling around with it.
So.
But again, later in the series, there's going to be a wild card pitcher probably over the weekend. Could be John Alama, could be Joel Pinheiro. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not ruling out Pod Abbott, but he hasn't pitched as well. Pinheiro, the magic bullet, Alama have been outstanding and very good against left-handed hitters. He's a left-hander. That might be another option. He pitched very well in Yankee Stadium.
Well, and
during the playoffs.
another pitching decision for Lou is going to be 10 guys on the staff of this series. We assume he's going to bump that up to 11 for the 7-game series. Who does he add on? Who might he take off? I mean, things he can go with. Will Carlos Guillen be ready to go for this next round? I mean, so they've got some tough calls to make over the next 48 hours or
Well,
so.
I think he's probably going with the 7-game series. He's going to bump up that rotation or that number of pitchers to 11. That means he's going to add Joel Pinheiro, which I've already alluded to. And then I think if Carlos Guillen is healthy enough, he'll take Vasquez's spot on the roster. And depending on how much he can play, they're going to be able to use him in whatever role, depending on how strong he is. And that could mean that Ed Sprague will get subtracted. But Ed's a great player. He's been there before. But really, you went through this series, there was no opportunity to use Ed Sprague. You're not going to pinch hit for Ichiro. You're not going to pinch hit for John Olerud. So there really wasn't a spot for Ed to play in.
All right, good stuff. Jay Buhner, we did not see today. We hope we will see him and see him productive in the ALCS. Let's hear what Jay had to say after today's ball game in the Mariners clubhouse.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable turnaround from '95, without a doubt. I think everybody knows what we accomplished in '95 was the reason why we're all here. And two totally different teams from in the past, from now kind of like a little National League style play over here compared to, you know, just slugging and not a whole lot of pitching. So natural grass, a lot of big differences. But
Jay, give me an idea of the mindset. Take us through the emotions of being down 2-1 and then winning and having to win the next two.
It's not the way you always want to do it, but at the same time too, we believed, and we believed in ourselves, and we had a quiet confidence, and I think each and everybody in here knew that somehow, some way, we're going to pull this thing out, and it wasn't going to be from lack of effort, that's for sure. I mean, these guys all come out here and leave it all on the field, and we're going to do that until we ran out of outs, or you know, we walked off the field with a W, and so that's never been a question all year long. Guys showing up ready to play. They've been ready. They've had fun. Good times and bad times. Consistency, you know. So
Do you think that if you guys, maybe that turning point for today's game was actually yesterday, and once that series came back here to Safeco Field in front of these fans, in front of where you guys have won so many games, that was the turning point?
I think it always helps coming home. I mean, we had a good test in Cleveland, and to bring it back here in front of our hometown crowd, that's what it's all about. These guys have been behind us. You know, having that 10th man is huge. Once we got that lead today, it was a heck of a pitching matchup. You know, even though Chuck struggled from time to time, he was able to get himself out. Their bullpen was nasty again. They got some good young arms out there. But we got a couple of timely hits, and Jamie threw a gem as usual. I mean, you know, I think that was a big confidence too for all of us, as we knew that Jamie's locked in. We knew he was going to get we're going to get a good game out of him. We're going to get 6-7 strong innings, and then turning it over to our bullpen. That's a nice confidence to have too.
I know you guys aren't done, but in some way, does getting past this first round validate this season?
We got a long way to go. I mean, I think the 116 wins, you can't take that away from us, regardless of what happens. I mean, that's a hell of a year. I mean, we ought to be extremely proud of that, and we are extremely proud of that. But at the same time, too, this is a whole new season right here, and we got tested, but we came out, and now we go from here, and we're going in with some confidence, and we're ready to play, man. We're having fun.
Your third trip to the AL.
Well, it'd be fun to see Jay get some hacks and be productive in the ALC West. You know, one scary visual I think we all saw today was Edgar Martinez late in the game hobbling into second base. Al Martin came in to run for him. What do you think? I mean, we need to hear from Rick Griffin, I guess, on this, Bill Kruger, but that might be an issue?
Well, it always is with Edgar. You got to worry about his wheels. You got to keep him from being in too many running situations. But, you know, I saw Edgar this year at one point basically look like he got shot by a gun running to first base, and I thought he was done for a while, and I thought the Mariners should sit him down. He played the next day.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes he gets cramps. His legs are so big and strong. This could be a cramp. It could be something that he works out in one day and he's better the next day, but they still got to be real careful with
apparently
him.
he pulled a groin yesterday running out that double, and I think maybe we were seeing some of the lingering effects of that. Hopefully he's going to be okay. But the thing about Edgar is that he always seems to come through, especially when the chips are down and you really need him. Like today, Booney strikes out for the third time, and then Edgar comes to the plate and hits that key base hit to drive in the third run of the ball game.
And it's a big run.
Yesterday with the home run that gives you that gap, it gives you breathing room. And we don't even need to talk about 95. We know what he did then, but you're right. This guy is money come crunch time. So.
But you know, the thing about that I wanted to bring up about Brett Boone and his struggles and this whole series, and really the Mariner offense has sputtered a lot in this series. Cleveland gave them pretty much all they could handle in this series. Let's face it. I mean, it came to a Game 5 and it was dicey. I mean, what does this say about this team heading into the ALCS?
Well, I think they're going to have to improve. They're going to have to get guys on. They're not going to. They're going to have to jump start, use the hit and run. Hopefully, they're going to get some chances to run. I thought the Indian starters, Colon, Sabathia, and Finley did a great job of holding runners tight. Ichiro couldn't run, and when the Mariners did run, they got in the pickles they got, and Anar Diaz is a great thrower. I thought they had a great combination against the running game. Now, I think that Stan Javier, I expect Stan Javier to play every ball game, and I think he belongs in the two-hole. I think that's the way to play it right now. He handles the bat, he protects Ichiro, he makes lots of contact, and I think that really sets a table. I would like to see them go back to the old lineup. Push Booney down the 5-hole, let him clean up the mess, take the pressure off him, let Edgar hit 3 and Olerud 4. I think that's a much better combination for the next series, and it takes some of the pressure off. And really, I don't think that's really downgrading Brett Boone to say, you know, Edgar's going to hit 3. What are you going to say? He's the greatest right-hander of our generation. What are you going to say?
They shouldn't say anything.
That's right.
And they won't.
Whatever works.
They're in it for the big picture, and that's the
And by the way, Game 1 of the American League Championship Series coming up Wednesday. It's a 1:20 start at Safeco Field against the winner of the Yankees and A's divisional series.
Do we get to go to that one? Or are we here again?
I don't know. We're going to talk to our
where
bosses
Where do you want to be?
It's hard to be away from the action, but it's great here, guys.
Look at us.
It's great to be here with you, man.
You know, every time the Mariners score, and they scored 3 times today. Let me pop one more finger up there. 3 times today. They raise money for charity, courtesy of Money Tree. And Money Tree donates $100 for every Mariners run. Total, $414. So the total donation from Money Tree, and this is post All-Star break, $41,400. So moving on is good news for charities as well. So
Absolutely.
there was so much on the line today. Charities and the ALCS.
A great win for the Mariners today. 3-1. They win the divisional series over the Cleveland Indians. We're heading back to the American League Championship Series, and let's hope the third time is the charm.
You got it. We'll see you at 6:30 on Northwest Sports tonight, and then again at 10 on your Northwest Sports Report. We are all over the M's.
This has been a special report from Fox Sports Regional News.